Hi, everyone. Welcome. I am Dr. D. I know it's been a while since I've been on here and we've done some shows. There is what we're calling a reboot, a restart, and new things are coming, as I said, on the horizon. What I like to see is a vision of basically a show, not only a talk show, you could have those, but more so of shows that are very interactive is what I really miss, like an active audience. That's what I miss about Blog Talk. People calling in, asking questions, people interacting and getting to know us as a person. Getting readings is nice, but there's other things like being educated, understanding about food and where your food is and where we're going with our food. Um, Not big on politics, not my thing, not my forte. But the thing is, for me, it's about connection, about knowing who we are and how we can better help each other. That is more of what this is gearing towards. Other things like DIY, meaning do it yourself. There's things that I really like tiny houses. I really like the build of tiny houses, how they got started, the material that is used. I really like yurts, YURT. Like in Mongolia, they have yurts that you can take down and uh, put back up and at a moment's notice. In other words, like they used to call the TPs, they used to be done a certain way. They were put that they could be taken down and put back up at a moment's notice with certain materials. They were protected for them, and people would be able to eat. So, I mean, things like that are really more what I'm into. I've always been into. Because of that, I've always had a fascination with the tiny houses. I had a fascination with container houses. So I don't know if you guys know what container houses are or what you do. These is about maybe 15 years ago. My mama Oracle talking about taking a container, they were going to fill it up with books, and they were going to take it to Jamaica or another country or Haiti, and they were going to just take it and use that container when they got there to build either a library or something of the sort. So you see the versatility of a container. So I like that aspect, and you see more people. The tiny home is really something, but container houses, because we have a wealth of containers that are doing nothing but sitting in a container graveyard, if you will. So these are things that I would call upcycle, that are very important and that can be used for other things. There's You can use them. Actually, there's some people that are using them in New York to actually grow food for different restaurants. So they're doing hydroponic growing, aquaponic, which is two different things. That's other things I want to get into: aquaponics, hydroponics, how to grow things above the ground, so you'll know what to do, because we don't know. Everybody thinks you got to grow in the soil, but if the soil is not dense, positive, then that's not a good thing as well. So those are some of the things that are going to be shared. We'll talk about that. So if you have questions about that, we're going to get into that. Permaculture. What is unique about that? And also to learn and talk about what is going on in your area on the new horizon. Meaning, what actually do you know what can actually grow in your state? Do you actually know what is your state is known for? What fruit, what vegetable, something that is unique to your state that you grow? Do you know anything about the seasons, about the almanac, the farmer's almanac, and actually how that can go about? So these are some of the things that I would like to discover and go doing some traveling, like going to different countries, not only being in Mexico, different parts of Mexico, and not just going to the cities, but going in the outskirts, seeing some of the pyramids, seeing some of the architects, and seeing and understand about the Olmecs and things. These are things that I've always been curious about and like to go. Like Thailand. When I was in Thailand, I went to a lot of temples. I did a lot of learning, and farming was one. And a lot that I learned, which I really like about tiny houses, I learned there is a thing that they have there that actually is it does air conditioner, but it also does heat at the same time. And it's not the big clunky air conditioner systems that I tend to see here in America. It fits in and fits out. And also the water, which I really like. The water there has a water system that is in a square, and the water goes through it, it gets heated up, and you can take a shower with it. So that's really cool. They also have by their toilets a bidet. Now, the bidet, that particular bidet in Thailand, where it was, it's not heated. It's a regular bidet. So you're cleaning your, your essential parts, which I like when I was in there. So those are some of the things that I took when I went to Italy and stayed in Italy for a while. I love the bidet. When I was in Korea, I really loved their particular bidets because there was so many gitches and gadgets, and the toilet seat was heated. And even in the public airport, how the seat cover came out and was discarded. So you were not even touching that. So it is really something. I have not been to Japan. That is a goal of mine to go to Japan and other countries and see some of these things. I want to talk to the farmers and learn about how they're actually doing farming, by the way. That is very critical, very important for me as an individual to learn how they farm. Also, some things that I want to talk about that always that people send to socialize with me. Yes, I wrote the book It's Vegan and It Tastes Good. And yes, I did really push that agenda without a doubt. But as I always said, learning everybody's body is different. Everybody does different things for their body to do healing. So for me, being vegan is a cleansing aspect. Being raw is a cleansing aspect. It's like when you are drinking alkaline water and it's 9.5. You can drink to cleanse and cleanse and cleanse to get rid of a lot of things, but you also can get to a regular neutral, just plain 7 water. And when you drink that, you're there. So that's what I feel uh, a vegetarian, well, a vegan diet can do for you. Because not everybody is made to eat vegetables. Not everybody's can adjust to eating vegetables, just that. There's some bodies that need a lot more than others, and they need the plants for that. And we should not be judging others. We have so many things that we can focus on. The positivity is the different things, different ways of looking at stuff. People have gluten issues, people have sugar sensitivity, people have alcohol sensitivity, people have colors, preservatives, and is like all these different sensitivities. These are all things that are putting out. So with that being said, we're going to discover some new things about food and make it out there. So I want to share with you some of these ideas, some of the recipes, some different chefs. So we're going to do some different things. Today I did some testing. I made, which was very nice. I made a cheeseburger, a Disney or Cheesecake Factory cheeseburger spring roll. But what I use instead of the flour, I use rice paper. So if you are on my TikTok, you'll be able to see I take you steps by step. I also made Shanghai Lumpia. Shanghai Lumpia basically is meat with carrots, scallions, cabbage, rolled up together, and you usually use a coconut vinegar sauce, which is so delicious. So if you want some of that, that is also how you can make that in this thing on my channel, so you can see that. But you also can see how to make hot cider, which actually brings all the mucus out of your body. So those are things. And I showed you how I use gangala and versus ginger. So there's two different ways. Gangala basically is a fruit, well, not a fruit, a root that's like ginger. It's very, but it's more floral. To me, it smells more like a perfume. It tastes more like a perfume, but it has the same medicinal effects that ginger does cleaning the body. So for me, my point is that I get my ginger, I put it in with cranberries or juice or orange juice to help my body to cleanse. I basically believe in taking garlic and a little bit of maybe clove oil in there and drinking that to really start mucus. At night, I will drink if I'm feeling like really achy. I will actually make golden milk, which is nothing but turmeric, cinnamon, uh, black pepper with honey, or what is the other thing? Coconut nectar. It all depends. So you can use regular milk or nut milk. So these are things that help, and it's golden. It's called golden because the milk turns like a gold color when you add them together. But it does have for inflammation. It takes away the inflammation. The ginger starts cleaning the blood. It starts cleansing the body, helping the immune system start fighting. The pepper, of course, warms you up. But I also put cayenne pepper. Pepper you need for the turmeric to actually bind together. So that is another thing that you might want to look at. Turmeric is good for inflammation, is also for preventative, no, for preventative of cancer. So for these things, these are pretty good. So you might want to look at these things. So you're probably saying, why is she going this way? This is how I started out, is making recipes, talking, but also doing readings and evolving and getting to really know where I wanted to go. So as we're doing this, I want you to really look into about 963. What is 963? What comes up for you? What are you feeling when you say 963? How is it going for you? 963 for me is also a frequency. 963 for me is also an opening. 963 for me are important numbers that people can see and relate to for different things. If you're into Da Vinci codes, if you're into algorithm, if you're into frequencies, if you're into angelic numbers, if you're into numerology. So everything for me has always been about the numbers and the thing and energy they transmute when they're going. Just like you hear uh, what is it, a dolphin or whale sounds or ocean or trees or crickets or birds. Everything has a significant energy frequency that is being done at the time that we ourselves do not realize, we ourselves are not looking at. So I'm trying to bring in these different energies to bring in more positivity, because we're so bombarded by negativity. The energy is off. The 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 sadness, the worry, the fear, like all these things that are bombarded with us, that puts extra pressure on us that we're not able to be ourselves. So for me, I wanted to present something else. So if you want to see the change, you got to be the change. So I decided I'm going to be the change that I want to be. I wanted to see. So my love is, I like cooking. different things, creating different things, taking gluten-free dishes or regular dishes that have gluten in them and making them gluten-free, or taking a regular dish that has meat and eggs and turn it into a vegan or raw vegan. So for me, it's a creative, it's an outlet. It's not so much that I really want a big fancy restaurant. I just like combining. I like combining herbal facts with different things that you eat that have different medicinal purposes for the body. Like, let's see, when I was little, my grandmother would put lavender flowers in the pillows. But my grandmother, every day it was the job, not only get out of your bed, but actually shake your sheets out of your bed. Hi, you would shake your sheets. Hi, Jerry. Hi, Jersey Rich. So you shake your sheets out of the bed, get the crumbs out. And when she made the bed, she would actually take the lavender and put it in the pillow. So all day it's sitting down there, and the lavender, when you're going to sleep, you're going to smell the flowers. Now, what are you saying that lavender flowers do? Lavender flowers actually helps the body. It actually helps the nervous system. It actually is a relaxing, almost like chamomile, but I like lavender better. Some back in the day, a lot of, I don't want to say, a lot of the elders would actually wear lavender perfume. And that would be what they also clean with. They use a lot of stuff that we don't even think about that also heal the body. So for me, I learned to make lavender tea. I learned to make lavender oil. These are different things that help the body. Daheen? I'm trying to figure out Janine. Janine? Yeah. So these are things that would actually help the body. So for me, it helped. The way my grandmother cleaned, it's amazing. Totally amazing. So she would use pine salt. And I'm not talking about this pine salt they got out today. It's not the same. It was called White Cat Pine Salt. And it was a green label. It used to have a nurse's cap on it. Like she had a nurse picture on it. She would use that pine salt. That pine salt was very effective. But let me also tell you, my grandmother used to use the brown Lysol. The brown Lysol killed 90.99.7% of different ailments we have today, like the Lysol. It would kill it. And germs, bacteria, you'd be surprised. That's what she would do the floor with. Oh, hi. Hi, Cuz Rich. So these are things. How's mom? I haven't heard from your mommy in a minute. I hope she's doing good. Let her know I'll call her. That's my cousin. So we do so many different things that helps the body and clean. And we don't realize what our grandparents or some of our grandparents taught us we can use today. Like we go out and buy these fancy, what is those things? Those fancy paper towels. Back in the day, they used to get newspaper and they used to spray it the white vinegar, not the apple cider vinegar. And they would clean the windows, the mirrors, and everything. I remember also my grandmother taking vinegar and putting it down the toilet. Not Coca-Cola. I also remember my grandmother drank this Coca-Cola back in the day when I was a kid. and it ate a hole through her silk dress. That's how strong it was. I never drank Coca-Cola again after that, because when I see stuff like that in my mind as a kid, like if that'll do that, it'll probably do that. But we are also told as kids, like if you eat watermelon seeds, you're gonna grow watermelon in your stomach. If you ate apple seeds, you'll grow apple seeds in your stomach. And us being children and we thinking about how our family was, we thought they would be all, say all. So just getting back to that. So those things stick with me of what they were taught, and does it apply today? For me, yes, it does. The pine sol that you can use is real from the pine. That pine actually, it is good for respiratory issues. What we've forgotten, the back in the day they used to use camphor. Camphor is also good for your body. It opens up your respiratory system. It opens up your nasal. There is this nose inhaler that I make that actually is good for infections up in the nasal and all of this, and the bronchial, because when you inhale it, it starts bringing out mucus. And boy, does it bring out mucus. So I have always had sinus issues, but I didn't realize my sinus issues were connected to my my itis. So when you have something, it could be your sinuses all the way up here and it goes all into here and all up in here, and you can feel it like all up in this passages in this stuff, and it's hard, like, you know, feel around. And it could go down here in your throat area. So these are things that I looked at, what it was that during every season, my mother would tell me that every season her mother would give her a cleansing out, that they would be cleansed out summer, fall, winter, and spring. And it can consist of, and when they overate sugar, they actually had they would give them a teaspoon of castor oil to actually get rid of the sugar so that they would not upset their system. And we don't think about stuff like that, that our body needs to be cleansed out. How many of you have gotten a colonics? How many of you know what a colonics is? A hydrocolonics. How many of you know what a high enema is? How many people actually get them done? How many people do you know that have different ailments of their body? And how many people you know that have an addiction to sugar, addiction to alcohol, or addiction to just even television? We don't even think that a television can be addiction. We don't even think social media can be an addiction. These are all things that can be an addiction. So my friend was like, well, what do you place in front of it? Well, instead of just basically having sugar, so now we're going back to food again, which I love. Instead of having white sugar, white processed sugar, you can go to Turbano sugar. You can go to coconut sugar. You can go to coconut palm sugar. You can actually use coconut nectar. You can also use agave. You can also use monk fruit. You also can use lucuma. You can also use maple syrup. You can also use honey. You can also use, what is the other thing that I see the other day? Date sugar, beet sugar. These are just things that you can use that you're not thinking. The beet sugar I like because it also, the beet sugar that I use, because it's not white. The beet sugar, it has nutrients in it. So these different sweeteners they are low glycemic index for people that have diabetes, but also they help the body because it gives the beet has iron. So let me say something about iron. When you're taking something that has iron, you also want to make sure it's backed up by vitamin C. So that's very, very important when you're doing that. So that's really good for you to know. So that is a key part of taking that. It's almost like I told you about the turmeric. When you're taking the turmeric, you add the black pepper to bind for it to work. So when you're doing when you need iron, you need vitamin D and vitamin C. So you need these key elements in order for them to work together. And we're taking them in a whole food form and not in a supplement form. Supplement form is vitamins, so these are just some of the things that I have observed or have researched and read about some people. I know what works for me. Now what I like is beef bone broth. I like chicken bone broth. Also, call me nuts, I've actually made chicken feet soup with the chicken feet. I used to eat that in the Culinary Institute when I met my friend. My favorite meal was curry goat, fried cabbage, and carrots with caraways and fennel. Also, they were good for the body to help. So when whatever dish you got, which I loved at the time, you would get goat, you would get that cabbage and carrot mixture that was sauteed. If you got brown stew fish, you got the carrot, but you would also get pigeon peas and rice. So that was what you would get. So if you got goats, if you got brown stew fish, that's what it was. You got chicken feet. Chicken feet soup was for me the absolute best for me. That was in upstate New York in Poughkeepsie. Great Jamaican restaurant. Very like really, really good food. So my taking that, I realized it also had turmeric in it. It also had the spices in it. It also helped, inflammation. Like eating these things every day builds your system up that we take for granted. The carrot that we eat today is not the carrot of yesterday. And someone was explaining that the carrot that we eat is a GMO carrot. Yes, it's been GMO slice and slice since the 1400s. The regular carrot, the heirloom carrot, is really purple and yellow inside. Some people would have a problem with that. The real apple doesn't look like the apple it is today. These are apples again that's been sliced and sliced by uh, updates. The tomato that you see today, the what is it? The steak tomato. They've been spliced and crossbred with an apple. The corn, some of the corn was crossbred actually with a fish. So there's so many different things that was done to make different things. The heirloom corn is purple. It's also red. It comes in a variety of colors, like broccoli. What is that? Asparagus. Asparagus can be white. Asparagus can be green. Asparagus has like all different colors that come in and what they do to make them. The apples that we eat today is basically, like I said, crossbred. The apples, I don't know if you used to remember, I grew up with crab apples. They were these tiny little apples, and they didn't taste the best, but they were crab apples. So the things that we don't know about, like I want to go there and talk where the apple came from and do the history and how it was made and how it is we got the apple today, because there's varieties of apples that we have today. And they would say Johnny Appleseed, that story where Johnny Appleseed walked across, America, the USA, and went around planting seeds. I don't know if that's true or not. Uh, but it's something to look into. Like, have you ever wondered about vanilla? Have you ever wondered about, why we can only grow certain fruits at a certain time? Why do certain fruits taste a certain way? Um, for me, the food has lost some of its appeal. It doesn't taste like anything. And it's disappointing. Make you think why you're eating. I can go and just, since returning to the States, I can just basically drink water. This, being in California, where I'm at, I've tried different restaurants, not so impressed. The smell of the different foods, I mean, what I used to, feel was good is not subpar. So it's about, what do I want? How do I want it? What does it look like for me? That's just some of the things that, we're going to be discovering on this channel. What would you like to see? So that's what I ask you. What would you like to see happen on this channel? Or what are questions that you might have that you would like us to research? Because maybe we can do that. But this is Dr. D. I'll see you for now. I want to say pleasant journey, prosperity, life, longevity, and always love thrown at you. Love, 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 love.